Let's bring in Ashish now as well. And we were waiting to see if this ultimately came through. And as feared it has, talk us through the key takeaways.
What we'll see over the coming weeks is, first of all, the RCN will announce its strike dates. They will be before the end of the year. We understand they could extend into next year as well. They have a mandate with their ballot of extending strike action up until May next year, I think. So they've got 6 months. But we're likely to see the first strike dates being announced over the coming days, possibly into next week. But certainly we will see strike action at hospitals and trusts before the end of the year. Now, this is being... It's not a national strike because not every hospital trust has voted to go on strike. So what we'll see hospitals where they have voted for industrial action taking industrial action, whereas you might have a trust further down in that region which has voted not to take strike action. But certainly you will see industrial action in all 4 countries, in England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and in Scotland too. Emergency and urgent services will not be affected. That's according to the RCN, the Nurses Union, and according to the government. It says it has contingency plans in place. In fact, next week, the NHS starts its winter preparedness exercises, Arctic Willow, which will test its winter preparedness and also test or stress test how well trusts are equipped to cope when industrial action does happen. I understand from speaking to union activists what has happened in the past in Northern Ireland when there has been industrial action. They have strike committees in hospitals which monitor the level of staffing on a particular ward. If staffing falls below that at any given time, then nurses who are on a picket line might be brought in to join other staff or colleagues on that ward, or they might have to shut that ward. So even though urgent and emergency care will continue and cancer care will continue, there will be disruption to elective care, routine appointments, and other forms of treatments. I asked Pat Cullen whether she felt conflicted by this and whether she had anything to say to a patient who might have been waiting for months to finally getting their appointment, to getting their routine procedure. What would she say to those patients who might be affected by those strikes? And she said, it's not in our hands, it's in the hands of the government. We are striking to make sure that patients who are waiting on that elective backlog can be seen quickly and effectively, and that's only if the government employs and recruits and trains and retains the nurses to make our hospitals work better. So she says it's in the hospital, she says it's in the government's hands. Also, the RCN is asking for 5% over inflation. Inflation currently running at around 12%. So they're asking for between 16 to 17%, way above what the government has already offered. I said, is that negotiable? And she says, we want to negotiate with the government. My door is always open. We want the government to come to the table and see what the government offers. So clearly there is some maneuverability there. There is a little room for negotiation. But the two sides, the government and the Nurses Union, so far apart at the moment, it looks like some strike dates will be announced and industrial action will be inevitable.